And we are live, as always. I'm always shocked that it actually works the way it's supposed to. I need to stop being shocked about that, right? So
Yeah.
we are live now in Law of Attraction 2.0, and we are also on the Stream of David YouTube channel. So we are broadcasting live to both of these places right now. And I am here with the lovely Debbie Garcia. Hi, Debbie.
Hi. I am so stoked to be here. It is going to be an afternoon of the stream, and I'm loving that.
Yeah, we are here every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific, and we are in Spirituality Gone Wild, which is Debbie's group, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific. And what I do in this video is I actually channel the stream live.
Yep.
And I always have a beautiful and talented co-host with me so that the co-host may read your questions for the stream. So as you are signing on, start asking questions of the stream now. And Debbie and I will talk a little bit in the meantime. Yeah, we're on.
I just was in shock too, apparently, because I just needed to be. Well, so yeah, I can't actually share this, huh?
No, if you're in Law of Attraction 2.0, it's a private group. So if it gives you an option to share it, share it. But I usually in a private group, you don't have an option to share. You've got to just bear with it and watch it right here in the group live.
Well, isn't that something?
Well, that's something.
Okay. Well, that's all right.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how your week has been going. We'll, as everybody signs on, we'll kind of roll into a little discussion, and then we'll roll into live channeling in just a moment. And if you are on, go ahead and say hello so that we know that you're there. We know that you're watching. And it should pop up and tell us where you're commenting from, because we have we're in Facebook right now, and we're also on YouTube right now. Good morning.
Oh, so YouTube would be a place that people who aren't in Law of Attraction 2.0 right this very second could watch, huh?
Yeah, they can watch it, and I'm assuming they can share it somehow from there. I don't know. I'm more of a Facebook person at this point than a YouTube person, although I'm quickly looking to become a YouTube person.
I'm having I'm loving this. Yeah. I'm having a blast with it right now.
Yeah. So I do have, I was telling Debbie, I do have a new masterclass coming out that is a free masterclass that we're going to start. I think it's going to be out the beginning of next week. And it is a Taya masterclass. So you can learn about the spiritual practice that is Taya. If you're in the Facebook group, Law of Attraction 2.0, you probably know about Taya because I talk about it in there all the time. And really, the practice of Taya is what Law of Attraction 2.0 is. Because I understood Law of Attraction really my whole life. I got it really young. This thing that I now call the stream was coming to me as a child. I was understanding how universal law worked at a very, very young age. I remember as early as age 6, really knowing how universal law works and really kind of correcting my parents and telling them, you know, the way you're living your lives and the things that you think aren't necessarily the way things are. You know, you don't have to stick yourself in this place. There's a way out of here. So I see somebody, I'm not seeing names on here. So I don't know why in 2.0 it doesn't show us names, maybe because it's a private group. But somebody said they just had a DTS moment. DTS means down the spiral. It's kind of our language for Taya. So if you're in the Taya spiritual practice, DTS means down the spiral. It means that you're down in lower vibration, where UTS means you're up the spiral. Generally, people will say that they're UTS or DTS, kind of indicating their current mood. And if you've been down the spiral, what we teach in Taya are tools to move out of there in ease up the spiral. But the reason we call it Law of Attraction 2.0 is because a lot of people teach Law of Attraction and they really dive deep into that. Just get happy, just get happy, just get happy, just get happy, and everything you want will flow to you. Just believe that you already have it and you will. And really, Law of Attraction does work like that.
Well, wait a minute. You just get happy.
Coming, but okay, you take it, Debbie.
But
it's not possible to just be happy all the time. We're in a polarized environment.
Yes, it is. You take Taya Boot Camp.
That's true. You get a lot happier when you take Taya Boot Camp. That's a very good point. But I mean, the whole thing about Taya is it's not about never going down your spiral. It's not about never being DTS at all. Now, the thing is that when you stop fearing being down the spiral and you stop fearing obstacles, you stop fearing negativity, you stop fearing death, you stop fearing bills coming in, you stop fearing somebody, you know, leaving you all alone and all of this kind of stuff that we're fearful about. When you stop fearing these things, suddenly it takes on a whole new meaning. Being DTS actually is something that's natural for all of us to do. We're all going to do it. I do not for a moment believe that anyone on this planet is reaching some state of perfection where they're up in high vibration all the time. And truthfully, if you're up in high vibration all the time, is that really even high vibration anymore?
No, I think it's called dead.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I mean, for real. Like,
yeah,
seriously.
well, when you die, you do return to pure positive energy, and
Yeah,
you're in high vibration. You're right.
I'm thinking it's like you've croaked at that point, because I always think, this ultimate need to reach some sort of mastery. And it's like, and so slowing down, enjoying your life right where it's at, and really be embracing happiness, right? In its space. Fear, anxiety, all of that. I mean, at what point do we stop and ask ourselves, is this really worth it? The cool thing about Taya is that you really get to dive deep and go and see where some of these belief systems that are holding you back, where they were created. And that's kind of malicious, because I've been through it, and it's interesting when you do that, actually. David's got this really wrapped up really well in his boot camp, and I love it. I can't say enough about it, because I attribute that to where I'm at today with the numerous other things that I've done, but that's one of the core foundations and core practices that I have. So I dig it.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Well, the practice was something that I invented. I started inventing it when I was a kid, because I grew up very poor, and and lots of people had difficult childhoods. So I'm not trying to pull off the violin here or anything like that. I grew up really poor, minimum wage household, single parent. My father left when I was 6. He didn't provide much for us at all. And then he married somebody who had a lot of money. And then he and my stepmother lived in this big, beautiful house, and they had a daughter who was my half sister. So my brother and I would live in the 2-bedroom roach-infested apartment with our mother, with drug dealers and hookers and all this kind of fun stuff living all around us. So we go visit our dad, once or twice a year. And he lived in a beautiful house with a spiral staircase and marble floors and, swimming pool, jacuzzi, and multi-car garage. And my sister had her own master suite. My brother and I were sharing twin beds, and my sister had her own suite with her own marble bathtub and a big walk-in closet. So it was a very interesting childhood to grow up around money and see, what sort of upper middle class people were like, because my cousins were that way also. It seemed like everybody in my family lived in a nice 4-bedroom house. They all had businesses. They all got brand new cars in high school. And then here were, little old Doug and me, we were the black sheep, poor folks in the family. And we were really poor. We were really, really poor. I remember times when, we couldn't afford food. We had to eat a can of beans for dinner because there was just no money for food. My mother paid all of her bills, but there just wasn't a lot of extra money. So growing up like that, I really believed that having money was the answer to everything. All these kids were going to camp, and they were going to Disney, and they were taking cruises. And I never did any of that stuff as a kid. I didn't fly a plane until I was like 24 years old. So from that perspective, knowing what I knew about the law of attraction, I really focused my manifestational focus on money and material things.
Yeah.
Cars make you happy. Money makes you happy. Living in a nice, pretty house makes you happy. That's happiness. And I spent the first 20 years of my adult life really focusing on that. And then I got to age 40 and realized, wow, I've got all this stuff now and I'm not happy. I actually had a really nice house and a really nice couple of cars and, really high paying job and all of that stuff. And I still wasn't happy. So I had to go back to that basics and remember that, wow, I created a process in my life to change my mindset to one of, I have money and I have things that I want, but I didn't do it on anywhere else. I didn't do it with my body. I didn't do it with my romantic relationship. I, for some reason, didn't fully understand that this law of attraction thing actually creates everything in your life, not just money. And if you're just trying to create money, in fact, I was telling Debbie that I just got through, we're creating a Taya money mindset course. And I just got through creating all of that content. And one of the first things I say in the course is, don't take this course thinking that's going to change your life and make you happy if you think having money is the answer to that. But here's a course to learn how to manifest money. If you want to manifest money, there's nothing wrong with it. But understand that if you don't have love and you don't have great people in your life and you don't have your health, money's not going to do a whole lot for you. You can sit in your big, beautiful house all alone and be very, very sad. In fact, I went home to my beautiful house every night and sat in front of the television with a bag of chips and a martini.
That doesn't even sound yummy. sounds kind of gross.
Well, sometimes I did a little better than a bag of chips, but usually it was just something salty and bad for me, and
Yeah.
and booze, and I still have a drink now and then for sure, and I still eat some bad food every now and again, but I don't do it for the sake of disconnecting from reality anymore like I used to, and I really don't watch TV at all. I've killed all my cable and all that stuff because I realize I'm paying money for something I never look at and just don't care about. I like being in silence sometimes. I like being with me. I cherish my meditation time for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you meditate every day still?
I would say that I do with intention. I do with intention. I actually,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you go through Taya, so the Taya meditation and all that. It's just, are you doing it?
am I doing it? I actually do my meditation. I whipped out the meditation the other day, as a matter of fact. I do different ones, but I love my personal favorite from Taya, though, is observing through the eyes of Source, which is just
Yeah.
it's like
Well,
a
that's
10
a
minute.
problem because that's all the meditations are channeled. I channeled all of them, and that Source Connect meditation, if you really allow yourself to get into it, that source message that's coming through my voice is part of you, because Source is part of all of us. And if you really let yourself go and get into that meditation, you connect with Source, and you sort of exit your body mentally and look back at your life here on planet Earth as a little speck of dust that it is. And it's not trying to diminish who you are, but to me, looking down at this life that I'm in, that's a fraction of the wholeness of who I am, I realize how easy it all is, and how you can't get it wrong, and how everyone's having a life experience that is their own unique life experience, and their life experience is not for me to judge. I can discern as that not being my preference and not go that direction for sure. But somebody that's doing something that I don't agree with, it's not my business. It's their bubble of reality. It's their life experience. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. That's one of the biggest things that I got from the stream. And when you get into Taya, that's a big part of the Taya practice, is connecting to that higher version of you and really having appreciation for all of humanity, all of it. Even the people that you do not agree with politically, religiously, ideologically, whatever, you're okay with all of it from that perspective. You don't need to be right anymore. You're just right in your own bubble, and that's all you need.
I agree with you. Let me share something, as a matter of fact, David. It just happened a few days ago. I had an experience where somebody was speaking to someone that I know, and I wasn't really thrilled with some of the information that was being shared, and it had nothing to do with me, though. Let me just clarify that. I just wasn't It just didn't make me, happy that this certain information was being shared, even though regardless, it still had nothing to do with me. But I really had to take a step back because, one, I went into judgy zone. Two, why am I judging it? And because of Taya, the practice, it's like, so I got to really sit back and just observe why I'm judging. So I judged the judger of judging. It was really great. But really what it came down to was allowing myself to let go of the outcome, and also just, practicing the art of non-interference, because it's none of my damn business.
And that is an art. We have to learn that art, because we live in a world where you're supposed to intervene and interact and stop people from harming themselves and things like that. And again, if somebody had a gun to their head, I would do my best to try to talk them out of pulling the trigger. Certainly, I do care about humanity, but at the same time, whatever somebody has going on. I'll tell you an example that I get caught up in. I follow a lot of spiritual groups on Facebook, and I see people posting things that are so counter to what I get from the stream, and counter to things that are part of the Taya practice, but they're still spiritual. That's a big tent. Spirituality is a big tent. You've got people that believe they need to have crystals to make a connection with source energy and their higher selves.
Yeah.
And I personally don't believe that. I believe crystals are great. It's a higher vibration than other things, but I don't believe that I have to have that. And I believe that material objects have the power that we give to them. I also understand polarity very, very well, but I don't believe that Mercury in retrograde is going to disrupt your life unless you allow it to disrupt your life. And so I see these threads of conversations about Mercury in retrograde, and this is going wrong, and that is going wrong. And I thought, wow, I didn't even know what that was until just a few years ago.
Yeah.
And my life is always just fine during these Mercury retrograde periods. But then I see people, they're just like comparing notes on how horrible things are going. And what do you think you're doing in that moment? You're actually creating that reality for yourself. And not only are you creating that negative reality, you're perpetuating it by getting on Facebook and talking about it. Oh, it's so terrible. Oh, this is bad. That's bad. This is going wrong. That's going wrong. And I want to dive in and be like, no, you all need to be in Taya. Blah, blah, blah. That's not true, though. That's my ego. That's my ego. The stream would say in a heartbeat, no, they don't. They don't have to be in the Taya practice. It's not for everybody. Not everybody's ready for it. Mind your damn business, David, and stay out of it and let them have their Mercury retrograde moment.
You mean you're not going to try to fix them?
No, it's not my job to fix everybody. It's my job to fix the people that come into the Taya spiritual practice that want to learn the Taya spiritual practice. Then it's my job to teach that practice, and it's your job to go do it.
Well, that's kind of the key right there, okay? Because you can here you go. People say, "Well, Deb, how did you do this? What was that pinnacle point that changed everything? How did you get to where you're at now?" I sat down and I took a long, hard, honest look at myself, and I didn't expect David Strickle to change me or do this for me, or Scott Katamas or anybody else that I've ever listened to or talked to. If I thought they were going to do this for me, then right there, straight up, I'm dust, because that just isn't going to happen. So it's really, it is ownership of your stuff and going in. And once you start owning your own stuff, then you get into the space where then you're able to really take accountability and start doing the work, and you see the results in your life. The cool part is that David, I've taken Taya. This isn't like an infomercial here, but listen, I've taken it, and it is brilliant to be able to detune when shit hits the fan. It's so great when you know how to detune that instantly, fast and quick.
Yeah, well, I would love for all humanity to learn this stuff. I would love that, because it would change the world. But again, I'm not here to change the world. I'm here with a spiritual practice that works, that we've proven works, because we teach it to people all over the world now, and I see them transform their lives. But it's a mindset shift. Totally. It really is. First and foremost, you're learning to appreciate your now, your where you are, and love yourself and forgive your transgressors and get over the things from your past that may be dragging you down a bit. That's the bigness of it. And everything else from there is just sort of icing on the cake. The manifestations, the improvements, all of that stuff really comes naturally when you're up your spiral most of the time. But the problem that I had with other teachers regarding law of attraction is all of this, just get happy, just be happy, just think about what you want and nothing else. I had things in my past that I couldn't just escape from. I didn't have a present father. He left when I was 6. Wasn't really involved in my life a whole lot, here and there, certainly. My mother was kind of a nutcase. She really was. My father left. She kind of went crazy. She retreated to her bedroom for the rest of her life, really. Told me she never wanted to have kids. Told me she hated me. She told me to kill myself at one point. Then we got to be friends. This is the kicker. We got to be friends when I got a little older. I started my own business at 19, and I started making money, more money than her. And I started buying things for her. I bought her a dog. I remodeled her apartment. I started helping her with stuff. And we sort of became friends. We were never really mother-son, but we sort of became friends, which was nice. I had a relationship that was good with a parent for the first time in my life. And then a couple of years later, I moved off to Atlanta, and I came out of the closet, and I told her I was gay. Boom, that was it. She never spoke to me again for the rest of her life. So that took some healing. That impacted lots of different areas of my life. And when I found myself at age 40 at 300 pounds and addicted to Oxycontin, and everything in my life was about having as much money as I could possibly get and then escaping from reality. It's like make money and escape, make money and escape, make money and escape. And that was my cycle of life. I wasn't even enjoying the money, really. It was nice to have a nice car and a pretty house and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to disconnect my brain and escape from reality. And now I look at reality so differently that I don't want to do that. And I do get a little frustrated with some of the spiritual practices. You hear these people say, well, now that I'm awake, I just want to go alone and be on a mountain all day. Well, if you're awake, why do you want to do that? Why are you so bothered by other human beings who aren't quote unquote awake if you're awake? Mm-hmm. And who am I to judge what awake is and is not? I'm not trying to be up on a high horse here, but really, to me, it helps me. I embrace humanity. I embrace people that don't believe the way that I do now, where I didn't do that before. And that's a huge shift for me to really, Democrat, Republican, hardcore, right-wing, religious, completely spiritual, completely atheist. I've got all that in my life, all of it. And I love all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets to believe what they want to believe. And I'm so glad that I'm not in the state of being so upset all the time about politics and religion. And now we have the coronavirus. There's just
dude, the coronavirus. Have we talked to the stream yet about the coronavirus?
I think somebody asked about it not long ago, but
okay. I'm like,
we
okay.
can.
So David, I live in a bubble. I don't watch the news. I don't keep up with shit. But I literally have had like 5 people talk to me today about the coronavirus.
No, but isn't it amazing how you can live in your bubble and never turn on the news and not be informed at all and still be happy and healthy and live your life and you're breathing and here you are.
That's why I turned this crap off. Oh my God. Because it just was like, ew. And it's not what I want to be filling my space with, but I'm finding it interesting that people are getting on this bandwagon of the coronavirus, of focusing outward, focusing on anything they can get their paws on. So if this is for you, by the way, not you, but you who's listening. If you're focusing on something because it's outside of you, because that's easier to focus on than what you need to be focusing on, then you definitely are in the right place right now because you're listening. And I encourage you to start putting your questions out there because I want to see them. We're getting ready to go into a channeling session, you guys, and this is going to rock. So and I want to say, Nam, if you want to post a question, because I know you just went DTS, and if we can talk to the stream and get you pulled right back up, let's do that. Okay, let's get some.
And Nam is a boot camp graduate, so he knows what DTS means, and he's got the tools to put himself out. But if he's here right now, we'll all dive in there together and talk about it. But Taya is not a cure for being down the spiral. It allows you to go up and down your virtual vibrational spiral less violently, with more ease. I feel myself dropping. I will tell you though, because I'm up most of the time, when I do drop, it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's really, in boot camp, I tell all of you the story about when I used to fly. I flew in my 20s and 30s. I flew in coach all the time. I never sat in first class. And when I got in my 40s, I started a job where I traveled all the time, and I got upgraded to first class all the time almost. And then every once in a while, I wouldn't get upgraded. And then I got really spoiled sitting in first class all the time. And then every once in a while, I wouldn't get the upgrade. And when I didn't get the upgrade, I had to go back and sit in coach. All of a sudden, once you're sitting in first class all the time, flying in coach really sucks. Whereas before, it didn't. It just was what it was. This is what flying is. You walk past those people in those front seats, you go sit in coach, you do your thing, you get where you need to go, and it's fine. But then you get a little spoiled. You're sitting up in first class. They're treating you really well. They're bringing you that little drink before takeoff. Can I take your shoes? Can I take your coat? Isn't this comfortable? Here's your meal on not China dishes. And I was going to say, it was not the 50s, right? And you get really into that. And then you have to go back to coach and you're miserable back there. That's what Taya is like for me. It's sort of like being in such a high vibration most of the time that I'm just up. I'm happy. Oh my gosh, I appreciate each and every day. If the birds are chirping today and tomorrow, the next 300, 400 days, I'm going to appreciate those birds chirping every single day. I'm going to appreciate being able to put my feet on the floor and get out of bed every single day. I'm looking for things to appreciate all day, every day, because it raises my vibe. And when my vibe is up, I feel better. And when I feel better, I'm not stressed. And when I'm up my spiral, I'm not fearing anything. And when I'm not fearing anything and I'm feeling better, I know everything is going to work out for me. And it does. It does all the time. So when I dip a little bit and I get down into DTS, I get down into a little bit of negative vibration, man, it just sucks. I hate it. I want out of there as quickly as possible. But we learn in Taya that you can't claw your way out of there. You sort of have to work your way out of there in ease. And the last thing that you want to do is get down there with this information and start beating yourself up because you're down the spiral. I'm down in lower vibration. I'm down here creating obstacles. I'm canceling out my dreams. Oh my God, why am I here? I shouldn't be like this. XYZ teacher says I just need to be happy all the time, but I can't. And now I'm thinking about that crappy thing that happened to me when I was a kid, or the way somebody just talked to me the other day, and I'm really harping on that. Can't get that out of my head. This is called being DTS. It's lower vibration. And when you're in a lower vibration, everything you do is going to be negative. Everything, until you pull yourself out of it. And you pull yourself out of it by meditating, by appreciating, by finding things that are positive to focus on, realizing that the world is perfect the way that it is, that we're not here for utopia. How boring would utopia be? Oh, we all just agree with each other all day. You're right. I'm right. Everybody's right. Here we are in a state of love, and here we are in gratitude, and this is it. And there's never any down. Well, if there's never any down, sooner or later, our intelligent minds are going to get sick of being up. And then we're going to create something that's going to drag us down.
You just said such a key thing right there. Then we create something that's going to bring us down.
Yeah. Well, people do that in their lives. I mean, look at people that have these perfectly, content lives where they have a job that they like and they have a home that they like and they're in a relationship that they like and they love their kids and everything's just good. And then all of a sudden they get a cancer diagnosis out of nowhere. Why is that? Because you want the disruption in your life, because this new disruption is giving you an opportunity to find your path out of it, whatever out of it looks like for you. And maybe out of it is not even physically surviving it. Maybe out of it is, hey, this is your ticket out of this life back to your completed state, because that's what your soul consciousness really wants. And then you're delivering a contrasting experience to your loved ones. We had this perfect life. We loved mom, and now she's gone. Why did this happen? We can't make sense of it. It's so sad. We miss her so much. Right? That's what contrast is. We have pain in this life for a reason. We do experience pain, but the good news is, I believe we're all eternal souls. The stream teaches that we're all eternal souls. Mom never really goes away. Mom transitions. Mom goes back into pure positive energy, and we're all going to be back there at some point. Our energy is eternally intertwined. We're going to experience each other again and again and again. Now, that human version of her in this lifetime, that was a one-off situation, and your human life in your lifetime is a one-off situation. And we're here to have that experience. But when you get out of your humanness and return to your completed state, you really, it sounds like I'm channeling now, but I'm not. But I understand now so succinctly how that is such perfection, that we're all here living our contrast. And when something bad happens, it's okay to say, hey, that's bad. I wish that didn't happen. It's okay to be sad about it. But then we get to choose what we do from there. We get to choose going on with a life without the one that we loved and finding happiness yet again in some other way, while still holding that love for them, which is your connection to them, really. Or you can be destroyed by it, or anything in between. But the reaction to what's going on in our lives is our choice. And that's the beauty of all of this, that we get to look at things differently. Everything is about our reaction to it, our perspective of it. And if you realize that everything that's ever happened and everything that's ever going to happen actually happens at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And it only exists to us as our recollection of it from our past, or our dreams of it for the future. It's all mental. We're dreaming of the future, we're remembering the past, and we're living in the moment. And if we let go of the past and we let go of worrying so much about the future, we actually get to enjoy this present moment. And if there's something from the past that's nagging at us, you can't get past the fact that you were abused as a child, or this happened, or that traumatic thing happened. You can't get past that. Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
You can, because you can view it differently.
Right. Well, David, I've experienced lately a couple of people like telling their story over and over and over. Now, my old self used to get really irritated at this, but my new self, my up the spiral self, says, I now look for let them be. Now, I don't have to listen to it and go down the spiral with them.
No, you don't. In fact, if you're up and they want to stay down and keep singing that song, you're probably not going to be vibrationally aligned for much longer anyway. That's the thing I found in my life, is that when I raised my default vibration and I got up in high vibration most of the time, all of a sudden I started having these disconnection of friends.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I didn't even fully get it. I thought, wow, I've got these people that I hang out with. I kind of like hanging out with them, but, they're not into me anymore. And then I realized, wait a minute, what happens when I do hang out with them? Oh, there's cattiness. Oh, they're, talking down about people. And, maybe they're not as high vibration as I really thought. I was just comfortable.
Yeah.
And when I got a little distance from them, I realized, wow, I wasn't a vibrational match to those people anymore. Now, Yeah. And now I
And
have all these new friends that have populated my life that are my vibrational match. They're cool. They're fun. They're upbeat. They're positive. They're not, in a cloud somewhere, but at the same time, that nastiness, that cattiness, that bitterness doesn't exist in this new group of people.
I love that. And actually, what I was experiencing was more about the stuck in the victim of childhood, stuck in the victim of somebody abused me or something like that. And what I found interesting was this was an opportunity though, where I don't want to step in and fix them. So instead, I said, "How can I show up for you? How is it that what is it that I can do to change this?" Or because we've already, or I'll say, "I recall you telling me about that. Thank you." To just kind of nip it. But it's like a broken record almost. So if you see yourself repeating these patterns and you see yourself stuck on a broken record, listen to yourself when you're talking to people and you will easily hear it. Now, what do? We get to choose. But like David said, if you are minding your own vibe, you're most likely not going to continue having these interactions. They will come up, but it's just another. I think I think I like to challenge myself to see if I'm going to interfere and be a codependent Willie, or if I'm going to, you know, actually use my tools that I've practiced in Taya and my communication tools and make that work rather
Yeah,
than.
I don't want to get dragged into a conversation like that. And and when I have had that happen, I've tried to refocus the person on what is good and positive and working. But
Yeah.
there are people out there they really want to stay stuck in that victim vibe, and that's their choice to do that. And it's really not my place to try to drag somebody out of there. If you want out of it, the Taya practice will absolutely get you out of it. You won't be a victim at all in Taya because Taya will not allow for victimness.
Oh no.
Taya is all about understanding that you create everything in your existence. You even created the unwanted things as a child, and it doesn't really matter for how. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is we move to a place in the Taya practice where anytime an obstacle comes up, something negative happens, we say to ourselves, I manifested this, and I manifested for a reason. And the question is, how is it going to serve me?
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of it.
Well, here's the beauty of it. I walked away saying, I'm grateful for every perpetrator I've ever had. I'm grateful for the perpetrator in me, meaning because, we go through victim perpetrator, we switch off all the time. If you're not healing it, you're switching it. I mean, they always say, hurt people hurt, people that are wounded hurt people.
Mhm.
Hurting people hurt people or
Well,
whatever
that
they say.
vibe came from somewhere. I've explored that about my mother, just
Yeah.
wondering, but I realized I don't need to explore that about her anymore. And, when I find appreciation for her and think about the very best of her, that's my connection to her in her now state. And my connection with her now, I experience her now in a way she's crossed over that she could never be in life.
Yeah.
She is the being now up there that she never was here as a human being. And I've experienced her that way, which is amazing. That she's everything now that she wished she could have been and couldn't achieve here, couldn't find her way to it. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with the way her life was. I can't name one human being that probably had a more miserable existence than my mother, because I know she didn't have a happy childhood. She got married after meeting my dad for 2 weeks, I think. They started having kids right away. She never wanted to have children. She never wanted to be married. She was doing it to get out of her hometown and away from her mother for whatever that was about. And then my father cheated on her and left her for another woman. And it devastated her. And she never allowed herself to get over it, ever, 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 ever. And she took it out on herself. She took it out on us. She ended up being a very sick, very poor, broken woman and died a very sad death. And I can't think of many joyous moments in her life. And I made it my life's work to never be like her. If I ever saw, when I was younger, if I ever saw any aspect of me that reminded me of her, I would run from it really fast.
Mm-hmm.
But once I made peace with all of that, and once I appreciated her for who and what she was, everything changed. Once I appreciated the fact that I had not so great parents, but having not so great parents caused me to develop into being the strong person that I am today. That was my gift from all of that. And this was my life experience, and I wouldn't change it now for anything.
Mm-mm.
All right. So I know we're probably halfway through our time already, at least. And we haven't even streaming yet, but I've had a lovely conversation with Debbie, and I just love talking about this stuff. So if you're interested in learning more about this Taya spiritual practice or Taya boot camp, after this live broadcast, go to thestreamofdavid.com/TYA. That is Taya. But right now, we are going to bring the stream in. If you haven't seen this before, I channel a group of non-physical entities that I call the stream. The stream is source energy. The stream is connected to all of us and flowing to all of us. I've had a very acute awareness of it my entire life. And when I got into my 30s, I started really exploring it. When I got into my 40s, I started automatic writing with it. And when I got into my late 40s, I started teaching myself to speak it. And then when I started my podcast, which is called The Stream of David, I started speaking it for the benefit of others, and it got so much better and so much deeper so fast with the interaction with other people. I now have a radio show I launched this week. This past Monday, I launched my live radio show on Om Times Radio. It is on an FM channel in Virginia, I believe, but more importantly, it is internet-based. So you can listen live every Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific, and then there are replays there, and I actually take that replay and put that out as my podcast now. So there's lots of ways of listening to the show. And guess who my guest is going to be this coming Monday?
Ooh.
None other than the lovely and talented Debbie Garcia. So Debbie's going to be on with me Monday. I have really friendly guests that I'm really accustomed to on in the beginning, just in case I mess up something. We're just having a good time, but it'll be a lot of fun. We'll do live radio. We're doing live Facebook right now.
Well, yeah, I can't
radio with a lot more people on at the same time. So it'll be scary and fun. I love it.
I can't wait. I started actually, David, on live radio. When I very first started, like a few years ago, that's exactly what. And I used to take live callers, and it was cool. It was fun.
Yeah, I can't wait I'm going to get in. I'm going to get comfortable with the technology, and then I'll start taking live callers and have a host on with me. And we'll do kind of like what we're doing right here. I'll channel the stream, but I'll get to it a lot faster because I have a lot less time on that radio show. So what's what we're going to do now? I'm going to bring the stream in for you. I'm going to channel it for everybody. And the way we bring the stream in is we take a moment, we get quiet, we raise our vibration, we set an intention for a positive experience with the stream. And then I come through, and then Debbie reads your questions off, and I answer them. So that's what's about to happen right now. We are here.
Wonderful. I love to connect with the energy of the stream.
Always happy to be here. We understand that there are some questions for us, so we can get right to it.
There are. So it says Facebook user. Sorry, guys, it's not giving me names. I'm not worried about the coronavirus at all, but what advice does the stream have for those that are?
You are all well aware from our teachings, if you have heard us at all, that you are living in a contrasting environment. That you are living in an environment that is very much impacted by what we refer to as polarity. And this polarity is taking all of you up and down a virtual vibrational spiral at all times. And in going up and down this spiral, you are going to react to things differently depending where you are on it. If you are down your spiral, you're down in negativity, and you hear news such as news of the latest virus, you may be negatively impacted by it. By that, we mean that you are absorbing that information from a negative vibrational space, and perhaps it is instilling a little bit of fear. And it's important that you understand that the universe is creating everything in your life, but is creating it via your invitation. The universe only answers yes to everything that you think. You cannot think that there is something out there that I'm afraid of and I do not want, and I do not want it, and I'm setting an intention to not want it. That does not work, because when you're thinking about it, you're actually attracting it regardless of whether you're wanting it or not. The universe only knows yes. So when you're fearing a virus, you are attracting something of like nature to you. And things like this become epidemic because you get mass hysteria going with lots of fear, lots of collective consciousness fear around the topic. And all of a sudden, all that fear is actually creating more of. You are actually driving the spread of a virus by fearing it. And of course, your news media, your leaders, those that are looking to perhaps profit off of this, understand this. They understand fear mongering. That's why the news is in a constant cycle of telling you that you need to fear this, and this is spreading, and it's going to be bad, and it's coming to you, and you're going to be next, and you need to take these precautions. They're doing this so that you will tune in and listen, first of all, because that drives revenue to their news program. And then the ones that are going to profit off of the cure and the treatment are also perpetuating this. Your politicians that want you to vote for them because they are the ones that are going to fix it, they're going to use fear in a lot of cases. So understand how fear is being used to control you in your lives, and to take all of these things with a grain of salt. In fact, allow it to just pass by you and not become fearful of it. Now, if you are so guided from your own inner guidance to take certain precautions to avoid something that is a physical reality in your world, there's nothing wrong with that. But do it from a place of knowing that you're protecting yourself, knowing that you're healthy, knowing that it is not going to impact you. Be in that state of health, project that vibration, and then do whatever you want, truly. But understand that fearing it and buying into that fear of it is only going to be damaging to you in one way or another.
Beautiful. Here we have Nam actually was just sharing, but I think we can elaborate on this a little bit. He had gotten yelled at by a neighbor for something that he wasn't responsible for. Apologized for the disturbance caused by a family member. And then he started thinking about, why did I just manifest this situation? Went DTS, started beating himself up for the disturbance, causing the neighbor to be upset with us. And he just sat there, closed his eyes, took a breath, and picked up the phone, and there you were, David.
The timing is always perfection, because the greater intent there was to pull out of the DTS, and you were speaking of one who truly has the tools to do this, and is using the reflective teachings to go back and try to make sense of why this whole scenario was manifested in the first place. Understand that when you are making your work, being up your spiral in a state of love and appreciation, you, first of all, are not going to manifest a negative interaction with another, even if it's born of something that you have nothing to do with. You are intertwined in that if you are experiencing that one way or another. So there's a little more vibrational work, if you will, that needs to be done to keep yourself out of that territory. But when you do find yourself in that territory, understand that staying up your spiral, even if another is down theirs, is absolutely possible. You can interact with one somehow, some way that is down their spiral, yet you are up. It is absolutely possible to have this occur and stay up your spiral and not allow them to trigger you down. Allowing someone else to trigger you down is your choice every single time. And the more you practice being up, and the more you practice seeing your world and your life from what we call the higher perspective, and the more you practice appreciation and love for all of humanity, the less and less you're going to experience things of this nature. And when you're in the midst of this practice, perhaps you have a little vibrational dust following you from a prior vibration that places you in alignment with something like this, even if you're up. And if you are, and you experience that, you will be able to handle it from a much higher vibrational perspective. Allow them to have their moment of DTS. Don't buy into it with them. And we're not asking you to even take abuse from someone else. You can simply exit the scenario if need be, but don't allow it to take you down the spiral. And then if you do, then your next job is to go and sit in silence. Find appreciation for everything in the world, with that person, that being that you allow to drag you down, being the final frontier in that appreciation break. Understanding that you're going to work your way up the spiral until you can appreciate them as they are. These are the tools to move back up your spiral and not linger down in DTS. And you should never, ever, ever beat yourselves up about being DTS. It is a normal physical condition to sometimes go down your spiral. There is nothing wrong with it. But the thing not to do when you're down there is to board the thought train and start beating yourselves up, or downing your dreams, or changing your plans, or acting from down there. You all go down your spiral on occasion, and sometimes you go down your spiral and you say things to another, one that you may love very much, that is hurtful from down that spiral. And then the next day you go up your spiral, you apologize, and you say that you didn't mean it. Actually, you did mean it, but you meant it from down your spiral. You are a different being when you are down your spiral than you are when you're up. You meant it from down your spiral, not up. And judge yourselves this way and judge others this way as well. We hear you often saying that you're not judgmental, but in truth, you really are. You're always discerning your preferences. So when we say judge, we are saying discern your preference to behave in such a way that when you are down your spiral, you make your work going up, making all of your decisions from up to spiral, never down, knowing what you feel like when you're down there, knowing that if you act from down your spiral, you're always going to act in a negative way. And that's okay, because you all came here to experience both positive and negative. And being down the spiral is your negative creation time.
Wonderful. Nam, I hope that that helped a lot. So all this person is saying is, hello, stream. Can you please tell me about my relationship? That's not exactly the, we can talk about relationships. It's not a point blank question, but yeah, let's talk about our relationships.
Well, every relationship, and we are going with the thought that this is a romantic engagement, a romantic relationship, and everything is vibrational. Your romantic relationships are vibrational relationships. All of your relationships are, and you're never going to be vibrating exactly the same as another being at all times. And when you're in a romantic relationship, you automatically, because of your society's teachings, you are placing great pressure on that romantic relationship, because you're all taught that you're supposed to pair off for life with another. Yet that is counter to your vibrational beingness. That is not necessarily your nature. And you see evidence of that all around you in the divorce rate. That many of you begin to progress through life and go in different directions and decide to evolve and grow and change. And that is your nature, while another wants to stay footed where they are. And when that's occurring, you are moving more and more apart vibrationally, truly. And we guide you to be okay with that. We guide you to never hold yourself in a space that you do not truly want to be in, because the other is trying to hold you there. And we understand that you may on some level appreciate them very much, but on another level, if you're doing that, you are doing it out of fear. The fear of being alone, the fear of leaving the other one alone, the fear of a change in finances because of a potential breakup. But if you're holding yourself in place for what you would call the wrong reasons, we certainly are not judging it. But if your reasons are fear-based, you're not going to be in a satisfying situation ever. So if you're holding yourself in a place and you understand that you are there because you're afraid to be alone, or you're afraid that you're going to be broke, or you're afraid of what's going to happen next, or you're afraid of leaving them, then you've got some work to do, because you are in that relationship from a very low vibrational perspective. We guide you on all topics to remove fear from the equation to gain your clarity. So the advice that we give to you regarding your relationship is to think of it in terms of fearlessness. Remove fear from the equation and get your own clarity regarding your relationship. Understand where you want to go next from your own perspective without fear. That's your clarity.
Wonderful. Thank you. So this is really, I love this comment, and let's just, because we don't have a whole lot of time, so let's go ahead and expand on this though, because this, I wish I could see your name. It says, thank you. I needed to hear that. It applied to me right now too. Let's talk about how come that we all resonate with most of the messages that are said at the same time.
You are once again experiencing a vibrational meeting of minds, if you will, a collective consciousness that is drawn together at the same time vibrationally. Those of you that are finding your paths to our message are vibrationally aligned with it. And those of you that are finding your way to our live stream are vibrationally aligned with that. This is why David asked you to meditate and set a positive intention to raise the collective vibration for a satisfying experience for all. And when you do that, you will find that your questions will be answered, even if you have not physically asked them.
That is wonderful. Thank you. I am looking here to see what else we have. Hi, Cindy, by the way. I'll just read her comment. It's long. I understand what you're saying. I get kind of worn out with this particular thing that happens. You must do this or that. You must do, okay, so talking about practices, spiritual practices, people saying that you got to do it this way or that way, that this way is the right way, this way is the wrong way. Believing that there are energy influences. Again, we were talking about Mercury retrograde, and everybody flips out about Mercury retrograde and all of these things that are outside of self that we are allowing, that we are trying to convince ourselves of, or others convince ourselves of, that this is true, and the reason maybe you aren't feeling so great or your life sucks. So what do we say to those that say, nope, our way is the only way, that's the right way?
It is very obvious to each and every one of you that you are all individuals. No two of you are alike. You are all eternal beings having a very temporary human life experience in this instance. You have all brought in infinite other beingness with you, meaning other lifetimes as infinite other things. So you are all truly unique. And you are not here to all have the same experience. And that should be very obvious to all of you. And in that is why we say that, yes, we are source. We are the source of all creation. We are original thought in an evolved form. But we are not here to guide all of humanity to one singular message. Not all of humanity is ready for what we are teaching. First of all, there are very few of you. Notice that there are not millions tuning into this right now. Most of you are not ready, meaning humanity are not ready for this type of thought. But those of you who are slowly finding your path to this. And this practice that David has created based on our teachings is a brilliant solution for your modern day lives to readjust your vibration, truly developing your own tools in the process. Those of you that have been through the boot camp program understand that there is no one way to do anything in the Taya spiritual practice. The goal of the Taya spiritual practice is to raise your vibration, to release fear, and to trust your abundance, meaning trusting that the universe can and will deliver whatever it is that you're wanting, and understanding that your wanting is always going to change and evolve and shift. And that's the very basic universal law at play. Everything else from there, all of your other human identified universal laws are all spin-offs of that. There's law of attraction, and attraction is impacted by polarity. And that is truly it. It is truly as simple as that. But humans tend to make things far more complicated than they need to be. And we are not here to tell you that that is wrong. There are those of you who are very positively impacted by the idea of angels. There are those of you that believe crystals heal. There are those of you that believe in essential oils. There are those of you also that believe that Mercury retrograde is going to disrupt your life. Yet that does not hold true for the entire planet ever. You're all on your own path. You're all on your own journey. There's no getting this wrong. The one who lives to be 101 and is dubbed as one who is enlightened, when they die, has had a very satisfying life experience from their soul consciousness perspective. The one who becomes addicted to drugs and dies as a homeless junkie in the gutter has the same. It all has value. You may look upon one or the other and discern one or both as not your preference. That's up to you. There's no preset contract or path for any of you. You're here truly on your own, manifesting your reality. And that is the beauty of it, because you're truly not on your own. You truly have our energy flowing through into all of you in the capacity to create anything that you want. But you have to believe it. And you have to understand how your vibration works and how important it is, and how you are creating your bubble of reality with your thoughts, with your focus, with your beliefs. Always, every single one of you. But this message is not for all of humanity. There are plenty of humans on planet Earth that are living without any type of spiritual belief whatsoever and living very joyous lives. And there are others who are depending on a deity for guidance, who believe that their lives are predestined. There are some that believe that because of the color of their skin, they are superior. There are all sorts of beliefs on your planet, all sorts, and they all serve different purposes. And it's okay for you to look upon any or all of them and discern them as not your preference and find your own path. And if our words resonate with you, if you feel good when you hear what we have to share, then you indeed are in the right place at this time. Trust your instincts.
If it's all the same, then why do we come here and deal with contrast?
The idea of it being all the same is that the contrast is here to help you expand, and you all get your own version of that. And you are all seeking expansion. you are all, for lack of better terminology, there are really no words to describe what we were about to convey to you, but you are all sort of on this vibrational ladder. You are all vibrationally ever expanding in your beingness, and you expand by coming and experiencing physical existence and placing and overcoming obstacles in the process of finding your paths to things that you enjoy in physical. You all come here and immediately begin discerning your preferences for the things that you eat, the weather that you like, the type of people that you like to be around, the things that you want to partake in. You all have preferences. This is why we say that you're all judgmental, because you are. You all have an ego and you're all in a physical environment. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But in finding your own unique journey through this physical lifetime, you are going to discern preferences for physical things that are your physical version of how you are in your completed state of pure positive, what you would call source energy. But you're in physical experiencing it. And from your non-physical perspective, you like that very much. You like coming and experiencing physical, and you understand that the ticket to that, the price that is paid for that physical experience that you all love very much, is coming and being in a polarized, contrasting environment. And through your life experiences, you are receiving expansion. You are having a unique experience. The aborted fetus, the stillborn baby, that is a unique experience for that strand of soul consciousness. That creates expansion. And you have to understand that in the energetic realm, you are not quantifying things the same way that you are in a physical realm where you have linear time. So the stillborn or aborted fetus that has that expansive experience, you're not comparing that to the one that comes and lives to be over 100, having lived and traveled the world and been a teacher and done all of these things that from a human perspective you find very satisfying, one who claims to be enlightened. They are unique experiences, and there's expansion available in both. And it's not about the amount of years spent on planet Earth, ever. So when you return to your completed state, you look back at your human life experience or wherever your physical experience was, and you feel a deep sense of satisfaction for the joy that it brought, the contrasting joy that it brought, the physical reality that you got to experience, and the pain of the contrast that you also got to experience. Whatever question you are asking, we cannot hear.
Is that okay? I think I solved it.
We can hear you now.
Okay, good. So Cindy says, I rarely share or promote fear-based topics with the exception of human trafficking. I think it's important to encourage awareness of the epidemic proportions so people take action to protect their children. On this topic, I feel it's hard to put my own mind to mind my own business. And she was also saying that because I think you kind of we already answered this as we were going. Yes, it's the rest of my comment is that I just want things to be simple and uncomplicated. So what you're now saying is it's in alignment with what I was thinking. So I'm real quick, human trafficking. Why is Cindy feeling it necessary that she needs to bring awareness to the world about it?
Well, first of all, we will state that we are not judging any of this. You can be a full-blown activist on any and every topic if you so desire, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. Where we are guiding you with the assumption that if you are here partaking in something such as this, that your goal is alignment. Your goal is joy. Your goal is ultimately freedom. From that joyful, free place, you have the most to offer all of humanity. Your powerful up the spiral positive vibration is doing more for anyone that is suffering from anything than pushing against. If you are so guided to push against something, that is your human experience that you are having. The caveat with all of this, though, is that when you are pushing against and you are hearing about human trafficking and you are allowing it to take you down your spiral, you actually are offering less to those that you consider the victims from that down the spiral place. If you allow it to take you down enough, It's going to lower your vibration, and you are going to be bringing things of like nature into your own awareness. Not necessarily being what you would call a victim of human trafficking, but something of that magnitude for sure. You're going to bring something negative to you. If you are viewing something that is negative and feeling negative emotion, you are aligning with something that's negative. So reaching such a place in your knowingness, in your own enlightenment about how your world operates, and this information is flowing through into and is available to each and every one of you, getting to that state of high vibration and understanding that those who are what you would call victims of human trafficking are manifesting their own unique human experience. And yes, you are looking upon children who are being victimized, and we understand how you feel about that. But viewing it as their unique human experience that you prefer not to occur, that they're living their contrast. And if there's something that you can physically do about it to stop it from a high vibrational state, then you absolutely should act upon that. You are discerning your preferences. Just don't get caught up in the negativity that goes with these activities on your planet, because you're never going to solve all of them. But there's nothing wrong with solving them. This is where our message can be confusing when you first start absorbing it, because the solving of the obstacle is actually creating the expansion. That's why the obstacle exists in the first place. We are not saying just accept all of your obstacles and say, oh, well, that's the way it is. We're in a contrasting environment. The reason you manifest these negative things is for the overcoming of it. The reason the child manifests being a victim of something of that magnitude is because it's going to take their life experience in a whole different direction. And if they survive that life experience, they're going to have the opportunity to really go up in higher vibration and have learned and expanded and grown from that, what you consider horrific situation. But there's nothing wrong with discerning that is not your preference. And there's certainly nothing wrong with you from a high vibrational state pushing against it from a high vibrational state, meaning bringing awareness to, understanding that these are living their contrast, but you're not fighting it. You're promoting it. You're bringing awareness to it, but you're not getting yourself down in the muck with it. Because notice that you never truly solve every problem across humanity. You solve one and another one pops up. That is the nature of your physical environment. And when you reach the space where you can appreciate someone living through abuse, living through perhaps even being murdered, and appreciate that that is their unique experience, and that it's not for you to judge, but from your high vibrational state, you can discern a preference toward improvement, toward a cure, toward stopping this process, toward shedding light. When you start focusing on the solutions to things as a collective consciousness, rather than pushing against and complaining about, then things start to shift and you do start to solve problems. You have cured disease on your planet. You have stopped certain things that you collectively discerned as not your preference. It's possible to do so. And you all expand in the process of doing that, but only once you reach that higher vibrational state regarding it. And it takes time for you, if you're just hearing these thoughts, to really wrap your mind around what this means, what this higher vibrational state really is. This state of allowing something like that to happen to someone and be in a state of appreciation of it while you're discerning it as not your preference, and even discerning that you wish you would never hear or see of that happening again to anyone else.
Beautiful. We have came to, oh, we're actually past the hour. So we will be concluding now.
We always enjoy coming and interacting and answering these questions. And we understand that a lot of times there are things, and we will tell you that we enjoy, and David enjoys, the most difficult questions the most, because that brings out new thought. And that will some of you will go away from this meeting, think about this, and need even more information, and wish to come back and interact again to go a little deeper with it. And in that going deeper and that meeting of minds throughout the collective, we are creating new thought. We are actually creating solutions to your problems with that new thought, because we are always going to guide you to go up your spiral, find appreciation for the very worst first, and from that higher vibrational state, then think of solutions, then think of what you do want rather than what you don't want. Where you all get tripped up is this idea that you've got to fight it, you've got to battle it, you've got to get down in the muck, you've got to hate it, you've got to put the hate on it, you've got to hate the person that's perpetrating it, and all of that simply perpetuates more. every single time, because you have to remember the universe is not judging any of it. The universe only knows yes. And you are all in a contrasting, polarized environment. And anytime you're physical, you are. And as our promise to you, when you're through with this life experience that you're currently in, and you return to your completed state, you will look back on planet Earth and humanity in your life, and you will see the perfection of all of it. You will appreciate everything that you did. Even if you have regrets right now as a human being, you will have such deep appreciation of all of it. And the beauty of this message is you can reach that state while you're still alive, while you're still physical. And when you do, you go up your spiral higher than you've ever been before. In fact, your new low is your old high. And when you do, you experience a new version of abundance, where your first abundance is an abundance of daily joy. Your abundance is clarity. Your abundance is your instincts and your intuition flowing to you with ease. And from that high vibrational state, you find yourselves no longer wanting and needing the material things that you thought you needed to be happy. But the beauty of that is, from that high vibrational state where you let go of the wanting and the needing, those things come to you anyway. You set an intention for general well-being, and the universe will take care of your every need every single time. It truly will. You're viewing two human beings on the screen that are both examples of that. That is our message to all of you. We've enjoyed this very much. With much love. That is all we have.
Woo, doggy.
How was that?
That was a rip curl. I mean, like, for real. That was Finzi, thank you for asking the hard stuff. That was cool. You're gonna have to go back and watch that. That was quite interesting.
Yeah, no, we will definitely. And so I am a little bit in a little daze here, as I usually am. I don't have my water either to drink, so I'm going to sign off momentarily. But before I do, I want to thank everybody that took part in this. Everybody that asked questions, everybody that didn't, those of you that stuck around and listened to all of it. Hopefully the stream delivered something new to you. I'm amazed at the new information that I get from the stream. When I watch these things back, I don't remember much of this when I channel. But when I do go back and watch the replay of it, it's always really satisfying to watch. And I learn from them all the time. And I hope you all do as well. Debbie, thank you so much, as always, for hosting. I appreciate it. I can't wait to have you on the live radio show this Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific on Om Times Radio. And if you're interested in learning more about Taya Bootcamp, let me put that up there for a second. You can learn about the Taya Spiritual Practice and Taya Bootcamp by visiting thestreamofdavid.com/Taya, T-Y-A. It stands for Trust Your Abundance. And that's what we do in Taya. We learn to trust our abundance and release fear from our lives.
Yes.
Thank you, Debbie.
I love you guys. Bye. Bye, David. Thank you.